So what we're going to do right now is we're going to create something that could be like a gas station canopy. Okay? Except that I want it to have a large elongated surface in one direction, and at the two short dimensions of that, I want it to have walls that come down to the ground, continuous, as part of a polygonal sort of jagged or fractured shape. So what we're kind of creating is a subset of the roof and this wall and this wall. Okay? I'm going to give you some general parameters for about how big it's going to be. And you're going to have to, what I want you guys to do is I want you guys to have a small surface area, okay, that you're going to attach it to. So I'll start with that one. We'll make the small surface area so that it is 12 inches across, okay? And we'll make it so that it is, 5 inches in depth. Okay, so 12 by 5, approximately. So I'm going to start by cutting that shape out first. And that's what I'm going to sort of use as a base to glue to. Okay? So that becomes kind of just what I'm going to use to glue this object that I'm going to create down to. Okay? So there's that. So now I'm going to create the object. And the object needs to obviously be a little bit smaller than this. Okay? So it needs to basically be in maybe a ½ inch from the edges or more. So here goes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this as kind of a general guide for the area that I've got to sort of stay within. All right. So the technique that I'm about to use is called the Frankenstein technique. All right. And I nicknamed it the Frankenstein technique years and years and years ago, and then I noticed that some chopper guy on TV had grabbed my phrase. So the Frankenstein monster was a monster that was kind of created from the best parts of different things and kind of all sewn together, right? So really, the novel Frankenstein was not about a monster, it was about prejudice. But I don't know, have any of you read the novel? No? Okay. It's a really good novel. It's very well written. It's not the horror story that Hollywood made it out to be. It really is about prejudice. So I'm going to start by creating a shape that's going to fit almost inside of this thing. It's going to be just a little tiny bit smaller than it. Okay? And I'm going to use my rules, right, that the form be elongated. So is this elongated? Yes. Okay, so it has a narrow to long proportion. I'm going to use acute angles and obtuse angles. All right, and I'm going to use tapering. So those three things are going to be included in how I work at this thing. The shape will be mine. I'm just going to kind of sketch it up. All right, so there's my shape right there. Can that thing see this?
Yeah.
Yeah? So would you guys say that this shape is pretty close to filling up a lot of this plane? So I didn't leave a lot of leftover space, right? And I didn't have to make it a 5-sided shape. I could have made it a 4-sided shape. Okay. As a matter of fact, maybe that's what I'm going to do, just to prove to you that it doesn't have to be 5-sided. I'm going to change my mind. Right now, I'll just keep going. I'll tell you what, I'll make 2 or 3 iterations for you guys to look at. All right, so here goes. I'm going to cut this thing out. right? And so there is my canopy, and my canopy clearly fits on top of the shape that I'm putting it on. But this does not look as interesting as this, does it? Right? And that's because this thing is faceted into a series of triangles or potentially triangles and polygons. And so I got to take this object and I've got to kind of crease it and bend it so that it creates a more interesting form. And so I'm going to kind of just sort of sketch at it. I'm going to maybe put a diagonal crease in here. Right, and then maybe I'll put another crease in here. And I'm sort of mimicking the one that I've kind of already got. So I've put this sort of Z pattern on it. Right? That same Z pattern that we kind of used on that. So I'm going to go ahead and crease that. Again, using that thing as a reference. So start by creasing this one on this side. Crease this one on this side. Okay, so there's that, and there's that, and then I'll crease this one on the back side. So there's that. And so there is this shape that I've kind of created from it, right? It's not too different from that one, right? And that's just going to sort of sit over top of this. And again, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to create a canopy that maybe cars could pull into in a gas station. I want to take this wall and I want to fold it down, right? And I want the total height of this thing to be, at the lowest point, I want it to be no more than 1 inch, okay? And at the highest point, I want it to be no more than 2 inches. So 1 inch, now let's say 1 1/4 at the lowest and 2 1/4 at the tallest, okay? Right, but this time, instead of doing it with the little stilts that I did before, I'm going to take this object and I'm going to put some glue in these creases to freeze it. Okay, so there it is. The facets need to be kind of bent enough to where you see a differentiation in them, right? But they can't be so bent that the thing is like that. So I think somewhere about right there looks about right. So you can use this glue to kind of freeze the form up. So I'm going to put some in on the back side here. And I don't care that you see the glue. These are all just intended to be sort of sketch models, okay, for studying form. Kind of bend it a little bit, and see it pretty much froze it. No, it doesn't. It won't flex. And these still flex, but this one won't. All right, so now I'll take these, and I'm going to do the same thing with those. So I'll put a little glue here. A little glue over here. Center clear stuff really is burning my nose today. All right, now that one's pretty frozen up, and I'm going to do this one. You guys could have done that with that also. Would have got it to stop moving. I know some of you are struggling a little bit with putting the stilts under it. So there it is. So the object is now pretty rigid. It's not kind of flopping all over the place. And so what I have to do now is I have to kind of create something that's going to set the height of these things you know, about where I want them set. So what I mentioned to you guys was that I didn't want it to go any higher than about 2¼ inches, right? So 2¼ is going to be about like right there. And I didn't want it to go any lower than about an inch. Okay? So I'm going to create a triangle on this side, okay, that is going to have, I don't know, about 2¼ inches. And I'll probably will create one on that side also. So this one's simple. I know that it's got to be that length right there, right? So I'm just going to draw that. And I know that it's got to be at the highest point, it's going to be 2¼ inches. So I'll take this, and it looks like I kind of messed myself up because it is going to be not quite 2 inches. I know what I can do. I can go the other way. Yeah, I can go the other way. So 2½ inches, 2¼ inches, sorry. About out to here. All right, and so there's the first facet. All right, and I'm just going to go ahead and cut that triangle. How many minutes am I at? 12, all right. And I'm going to finish cutting this one, and we're going to stop it because it can't go over 15. And even at 12, they get kind of big. Okay, so there is one leg of my canopy structure. Now I could just use that one leg if the other one's tall enough, right? But I don't have to. I can kind of make another one. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this thing up. But I think we'll do a stop the video and start another one. So stop it.